Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today we've got a video here where people were asked about the ArriveCan app and whether they thought the government spent the money well. As you can see here, the official question is, has the Auditor General's criticism of the ArriveCan app affected your view of how the federal government handles expenses? This should be good.
I mean, I would say that you would expect the federal government to know how to budget and know how to invest in their money, and especially when a lot of Canadians are going through a lot of food insecurity and not being able to pay their rents. You would think that they would use that money in a different way, and I feel like it was completely useless. I mean, I've used it a couple of times while traveling, and it's just a mess, and it's unfortunate.
I would say so. I mean, personally, I haven't really used the ArriveCan app in quite some time, so I don't think it's that quite relevant to the general public that much anymore. So I think it's a bit overboard for how much it's being used currently.
I'd agree with that, but also considering COVID was a first-time thing, it makes sense to spend a little bit extra to make sure everyone's safe.
Spend a little bit extra, 80,000 to 60 million. This girl's young and naive.
You know, government's not a business, so they don't tend to manage money in the same way the private sector does.
There it is.
There are a lot of inefficiencies, and I think the storyline just contributed to what I suspected already, which was that there's not a lot of good management that goes on with tax dollars.
Yeah, I would say so. When it was that extreme of a difference between what we expected for it to cost and what it actually cost in the end, that's disturbing.
You said you had the app on your phone. How did you find it?
It was all right. I mean, I had to do it twice because the first time it just disappeared when I was coming over from the States. So it had some glitches, but in the end I got back, which was the point of it. So yeah, it was good.
60 million, you get some glitches.
I don't think it's any surprise how the federal government handles expenses since Trudeau's got in there. We've had nothing surprises me. There's a lot more than $80 million missing. The infrastructure money is that Catherine McKenna just walked away from. We've never heard anything about that. So nothing surprises me with this government, and there's a lot more money missing than that.
Yeah, absolutely it has. It's pretty irresponsible. Nobody even can really say who's responsible for these funds, so it's pretty discouraging, I would say, if I could use one word to describe it. Yeah.
Very much so, actually. It's a very good point to make, because from the news that I was reading, they say that they can't actually tell what the complete cost of that Arrive Canada app is, which is disgraceful. I think the federal government thinks that the Canadian taxpayer has an unlimited resources of finances to pay into Canada, which we do not. We have enough obstacles in the way as it is, with things getting more expensive all of the time. So, yes, that's a very valid point to bring up.
Wow, that's a huge discrepancy. To project one thing and go many, many times over, that's wild. And wow, awful. Where'd the money go?
Really disappointed because I used the ArriveCan app. My husband and I did it, and we thought it worked really well. But if we knew that it was that much over cost, I don't know if we would have enjoyed it as much as we did. And I just think it's sad that there's a lot of hidden costs that we're only finding out about afterwards.
Considering what was going on during those years when they launched ArriveCan, i.e. COVID, it's a bit ridiculous to zero in on a $60 million investment on a dumb app, which was really a rounding error. Sounds like election year hype to me. Ooh. Just another target for the other side of the house.
We got a hardcore liberal here. I guess $60 million is just a rounding error, folks.
Yeah, I think, if you're the Auditor General, you could probably, brush up on your decimal placement, but it was during COVID, a lot of crazy stuff was happening. Maybe somebody threw a decimal in the wrong place. Either way, that's years ago, 60 million, 80,000. What is it now? It's gone.
Yeah.
That's so really sad that these people are just they have no problem that money's being stolen from us. That's our money. Come on, man up. What's going on here, man?
I mean, as someone who was involved with app development in the past, I know that there's no way an app that simple should cost that much. I just deleted it from my phone yesterday. I think maybe I used it a couple of times because I had to. So yeah, that's definitely disappointing.
Not in particular. I know that cost overruns can come to be expected, but the auditing of of any project, no matter what it is, including the ArriveCan app, is important. So finding out where the issues came from and why they weren't resolved in process is more important to me than how it actually ended up being there in the final total.
Well, it's brought into question on how things are actually being spent and how effectively they're using the taxpayers' money. Certainly should be reviewed. There's a large discrepancy there that we've all found out about. So I think it's good that it's being investigated.
Yes, I would say something has gone wrong somewhere, or somebody has not been paying attention.
Not really. Basically, there's overspending everywhere. Any large organizations, doesn't matter if it's corporate or federal or provincial, they always under budget and overspend. Or not always, but a lot of times.
So the next question they did here is, should Canada invest in a new official residence for the Prime Minister? Currently, Justin Trudeau lives in Rideau Cottage, which is next to Rideau Hall, and 24 Sussex is the official Prime Minister's residence, but the last person to live there was Stephen Harper. For whatever reason, Justin Trudeau decided it wasn't good enough for him, so... and 24 Sussex does need renovations, and they're going out asking people if they think they should renovate it or build a brand new Prime Minister's residence. And even Rideau Hall apparently is not, it's not built as a Prime Minister's residence, even though Justin Trudeau's been living there for years as his primary residence. But
there's a lot of history to the present residence, and if it can be salvaged and renewed, I think that would be wonderful. It's kind of an iconic residence and symbolic of a lot of good things in Canada. So I would be in favor of refurbishing it if that's a possibility.
Immediately. I think if elections get called today, Pierre Poilievre will easily win. Yeah, that's what I think.
That's a hard question. I really don't know. I mean, it's been ignored and neglected for such a long time. It'd be nice to be able to keep it for its historic value, but it's going to cost a lot to renovate it. It might be more efficient to simply start again.
Yes, I think they should. This is the Prime Minister's office. I would say the office has not been held by quality people for some time, but it's still important to have a new official residence. And even if it costs $100 million, it's a rounding error for Ottawa.
$100 million? You're okay with our money being spent on that? That's ridiculous, man. That's crazy.
Yes, of some sort or another. I think that's another disgrace. I have a long list of disgraces of what's going on here. Yes, I think that's only fitting. Does any other head of state have to live with a bunch of cockroaches and whatever is in there? No. It's this business of always appearing to save money, and then things fall apart. Yes, she needs some kind of residence, a proper residence. And it's up to somebody else to worry about what to do about it. But really, it's just ridiculous.
I don't know how bad of a state it is, and they talk about it all the time. I mean, it's been there for your renovations aren't cheap. I know, I've done them. But I mean, if the house is in bad shape, maybe. But I mean, that's up to someone else. That's not up to the Prime Minister to decide. I think it's up to someone who can actually give a fair opinion. And not a consulting firm like he always likes to go to, because that'll just cost us billions of dollars for nothing.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. No. We can't be going around throwing money in that direction when we could be using it in other places where people really need it.
Exactly.
That's just cosmetic. We all live with that. I wish I could do all the repairs in my house every 5 years, but we can't. So that's a big no for me.
To me, it would be just the finances of it. If you can build something suitable rather than spending all the money on trying to restore a building that's not restorable, that would be the way to go. just a kind of a pragmatic approach to it.
I don't think it's necessary for Canada to invest in a new residence for the new Prime Minister. I think that, I mean, I don't know what situation he's in personally, but I am sure that he can pay for his own residence. There's no reason why taxpayer money should go towards that, and I'm fairly certain that's where it would be coming from. So definitely no on my end. Yeah.
Well done.
Official residence, like for him to live, for the Prime Minister of Canada to live, having the government invest in that? No, I don't think that's money we need to be spending that way.
Oh, no. I feel like they already have a lot of things they're investing in, especially like useless stuff like that. I don't know if it's useless. I think maybe it is. There's more stuff that we can probably invest in, like the city or just Canada in general, or like about the homeless people on the street and everything. They could build a shelter for them instead.
I think definitely down the road. I think right now there's a lot of other things that need our attention right now in our world, but I think it's a historic monument that has been used by many like prime ministers in the past. So I think if it's in talks in consideration of getting remodeled and refurnished and everything, I think maybe that's something that we should consider, but not as a primary. It's not a priority right now.
That's a tough question. I work in the environment, so I tend to want to repair what we have as opposed to tearing it down and creating new space. I know there are a lot of problems in the current residence, but I think historically I'd like to see that invested in rather than actually building something new that isn't in keeping with the historical tradition.
A lot of money, though.
It is a lot of money. But, you know, the leader of the country's got to have somewhere to live that is, I think, in keeping with the trappings of office.
No.
Why?
They should fix the old one up.
Why do you say that?
It's a heritage building. It's been there for 75, 80 years. They have to fix that one. And that is 24 Sussex. That's prime property.
No.
Why?
Because they are millionaires and they can rent whatever they is. They have to invest in the homeless people instead.
I would say
that lady's hilarious. They're millionaires. They can rent something instead. Oh, lady.
yes.
It's great.
Considering that the current one has sat unused for how many years and needs how many millions of dollars worth of renovations. So yes. I mean, I would like to see it kept as a heritage building because it is important, but if no one's going to live there, then it's not really serving its purpose.
And finally, they got a quiz here, which is kind of fun. It's which of the following are made up of a majority of women for the first time in Canadian history? Is it the Supreme Court of Canada, the Senate, or Canadian Parliament? Leave your answer down below.
Supreme Court, Senate, or Parliament?
Parliament?
Canadian Parliament?
No.
Oh my goodness. Senate?
Supreme Court of Canada.
Supreme Court. Canadian Parliament.
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court. Supreme Court.
It's Supreme Court.
If anyone's ever watched the Parliament videos, you'll see it's full of guys. There's no way it's going to be that one. The Supreme Court has 5 women and 4 men, so majority for the first time is women.
The Supreme Court of Canada is Canada's final court of appeal. For the first time in Canadian history, of the 9 justices of the Supreme Court, the majority of them are now women. After being appointed in November 2023, Justice Mary Morrow was officially welcomed to Canada's highest court on February 19th, 2024, tipping the balance of Supreme Court justices to 5 women and 4 men.
What's with the Santa Claus outfits? Those outfits are hilarious.
It is recognized as a groundbreaking event in Canadian history, echoing the Honourable Bertha Wilson being the first woman appointed to the Supreme Court of Canada back in 1982.
What I want to know from you guys now is, what is your answer to the second question? The first question, it's like, what has your opinion changed of ArriveCan since the Auditor General cracked it open? Yeah, we already know the answer to that. But do you think they should restore the parliamentary residence, 24 Sussex, or build a new one? I personally think they should just convert Rideau Hall and call it a day. We don't need to be wasting any more money. It's already a beautiful place on that beautiful land in primetime location. So, heck, at this point, we could just use the $8 million barn. No, seriously, we'll just use the barn. Share your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching to the end of the video here. Be sure to subscribe if you want to check out some stickers and merch and all that. That's linked up down below. Stay warm, stay fed. I'll see you guys in the next one.